Hey, what's up, guys? I hope you're enjoying the Be the Difference podcast. If you are, I got a huge favor to ask. Go on to Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review for us. It helps us immensely with algorithms and growth because we grow completely by word of mouth, organically. That's why there are no ads. Also, feel free to share this content with somebody you think might get value out of it. Last, if you don't know, I also do coaching to help people become the best version of themselves, starting with physical fitness, going all the way through mindset, sales, and leadership. If you're interested in learning more, there's going to be a link in the description of the podcast. You can schedule a time. It's a free assessment. All I'm going to do is have a conversation with you and see if I can even help you. I look forward to speaking to all of you. Continue to enjoy the podcast, and remember to always be the difference. What's up, everybody? It's Greg with Delta, and this is the Be the Difference podcast. This podcast is all about making you a better person in your life and in your business with coaching on sales, leadership, mindset, marketing, everything under the sun when it comes to being an entrepreneur. We bring on guest speakers. Today, I got the honor and pleasure of welcoming Miss Naomi Johnson. Naomi, how are you doing?
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. I'm so glad you're able to come on and share your experiences and a little bit of wisdom with the audience. And so before we get started, for those of you that don't know anything about Naomi, let me go and introduce her. She is an expert LinkedIn profile writer who has spent the last 10 years helping people position themselves as the go-to expert within their industry and structuring their business so prospects come to them pre-sold and ready to buy. She is the founder of the profile company, The Expert Economy, and author of The Expert Economy, What to Put on Your LinkedIn Profile and Grassroots to Green Shoots. Thank you so much, Naomi, for coming on board.
It's a pleasure. Happy to share some wisdom for your listeners.
Yeah, definitely. So let me ask you, how have you been working like on that as LinkedIn and as a subject matter expert for setting up LinkedIn profile and all that? Have you been doing it since LinkedIn has been in existence?
LinkedIn came around in 2005,
Yeah.
and then I began my business in 2015, and I started selling LinkedIn training via another company in 2013. So it was in its long life, it's half of its life now, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it really took on power, didn't it, around 2009, and it gained momentum. And it was really gaining momentum and becoming part of everyone's vocabularies around 2011. You'd be unlikely to find somebody not on it, but surprisingly, you can still find people not on LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's very rare, very rare. But
yeah, it does surprise me. Most of them are my family, it turns out, as well.
yeah.
None of my cousins are on it, which is strange.
Yeah,
but yeah.
And what drew you into that?
Yeah, so I started off 2005 actually. Again, I was started off as a life coach. Obviously, there was no social media then. Putting a video up on YouTube was a very new thing, very, very hard to do. We're talking like a camera, go take it to shop, put it on a DVD, and try and get your computer to work with it. Back in the day. So I started to have a coaching business and made every mistake in the book, and literally, because that's what my book, Grassroots to Green Shoots, is all about. So I was really in that entrepreneurial field. I was really in that kind of thought leadership, marketing kind of arena when social media began and started to take off and spread and become part of the mainstream of what we do. And I was around all of those people doing those things and really became aware around, how you position yourself and becoming a key person of influence in your organization. And a wonderful guy who some of your audience may have heard of, Daniel Priestley. He was a good friend of mine. I hung out with him all the time. He was a personal mentor of mine for a bit. So I was really up close to his methodology and how he was teaching people to position themselves as go-to experts. And then one of his colleagues headhunted me and said, do you want to come and work with me selling LinkedIn training? And I said yes. And those two things really married together. That how do you position yourself as a go-to expert and a key person of influence in your industry?
Mhm.
And then how do you use LinkedIn to do that? And I noticed very, very early on that the LinkedIn profile was absolutely a critical part of that formula, no matter what you're doing, whether you're on LinkedIn or off LinkedIn, or whether you just pelt out messages to people on LinkedIn, or attend networking events. LinkedIn and your profile are absolutely critical and really, really important. So I saw the two going together really, really clearly. I knew I wanted to do something in that space. And for the 2 years I worked for the other company, I offered LinkedIn profile reviews to people as a way of getting them to learn about our training and come on our training course.
Mhm.
Um, and inside of that, I was repeating myself constantly with the basics, basic concepts, which actually aren't that basic, to be fair. And that's when I wrote my book, What to Put on Your LinkedIn Profile, to sum it up and give that advancement to people who could just read it. And then when I left that company and said, right, actually, you know what, I'm going to start writing people's LinkedIn profiles for them, because I noticed that they loved the advice that I was giving. It was the reason why they signed up on the training course, but they never implemented it. And the reason is because they were too close to their own business to have perspective. They weren't wordsmiths and they didn't have the time. So I said, well, do you want me just to write this for you? People said yes. And that's how my company began. And about 18 months into that, I started to realize that the people I was writing profiles for, they didn't have their businesses structured in the right way in order to make LinkedIn or any social media platform or any business marketing work, actually. And so then I started to build the foundations with people. It's like, okay, let's get the foundation of the business right in terms of your call to action, the problem that you solve, the packages that you have, the systems and processes, even as a solo entrepreneur. Let's get all of those things in place, and then that will come out on the profile, and then everything will start working from there. And so, yeah, that's here we are 6.5 years after that. So
Um, do you, as part of that process of helping them write out their profile, and basically it sounds like you're helping them kind of identify their ideal client avatar, the unique position or unique solution that they have for that
mm,
ICA, and whatever the problem sets that ICA has. So like identifying the problem, identifying solution, and then their offer. Um, do you also help them with like finding those people or targeting those people on LinkedIn in order
not
to?
so much.
Okay.
No, the work is really about getting it right. Because one of the things is I see a lot of people is that they write their LinkedIn profiles. Sometimes they're writing for themselves, and sometimes they have started to get on the journey of writing for the ideal client. And so keywords is never a thing you want to worry about on LinkedIn, because if you write keynote speaker or facilitator, there has to be a context in which that person wants a facilitator. And that's going to be your subject, not just, oh, you facilitate, great, let's have you on board, you know.
Mhm.
And so it's interesting because we don't, when your pipe bursts, you know to get a plumber. When your car breaks down, you know to get a mechanic. But for a lot of our ideal clients, something will happen in their lives and there isn't that instant, oh, you need that job title doesn't come up. And
Mhm.
so if the job title does come up in people's minds, then what was the yellow pages in Google would work, right? Keywords, we know what to look for. But so many people are living with problems that they don't know that there's a solution for. And sometimes they don't know they have a problem, they're just living with the symptoms of it. So if you're just going in with keywords and just going in with this is what I do, you're actually going after a very, very small market, those who know that they have a problem and looking for a solution. And if they're looking for a solution and they know the keywords, they're going to spot all of your competitors, and therefore you're going to be fighting over the same pool of clients. But when
Mhm.
you actually step back and move away from that and say, well, what is the problem that I actually solve? And how does that show up in people's lives as a symptom? And then you write that on your LinkedIn profile and lead the person through to, and this is the solution, and this is how I can help. You've now warmed up a brand new client and brought them towards you. And hopefully, with a good call to action, got them into your sales funnel that they're going to have a conversation with you. So it's really important to remember that when someone comes to your LinkedIn profile, they didn't open LinkedIn today to find you. And even if they did come to connect with you because they met you in person and they have your business card, they've already met you in person. They actually don't care what you've written on your LinkedIn profile. They're just going to press connect. So every person who comes to your LinkedIn profile, you are there interrupting their day. And you need to come across really clear and really relevant to grab their attention and keep it, that they actually stay and read it and go through that journey of discovery of, oh, those are the symptoms of the problem. That resonates with me. I identify with that.
Mhm.
And then actually, I think I do have that problem. Can I solve that problem for myself? No, I don't think I can. I'm going to have to put some investment into this. Well, who would I invest in? Oh, the person who's told me about the problem in the first place. So
Yeah.
all of that's being taken care on the LinkedIn profile. And what does working with you look like? And so that's how we can speak to our ideal clients and awaken them to our solution. But on the other side of it as well, LinkedIn isn't full of your audience. LinkedIn is full of your network. And therefore, you're going to have a lot of people in your network and come into your LinkedIn profile who are never going to buy from you because they're just not your ideal client. But that's the beauty of LinkedIn. That's the beauty of networking. When you go to a physical networking event, there's a saying that says your ideal client is not in the room. It's who the people in this room know.
Mhm.
And it's exactly the same. When somebody on LinkedIn comes across you and goes, oh, I get it. Yeah, I see that makes so much sense. I can see why that would work for someone. Ideally, we want it to trigger in someone's mind, oh, I know exactly who needs this. This is for so-and-so. I mean, that's absolutely a score that they immediately think of someone to recommend you to. That means that you've written a profile that lands, right?
Mhm.
And then on the other side of that, it's that they now know about the problem you solve and the symptoms, that when they are talking to people and that person mentions that symptom, they can actually contribute to that conversation and bring that person to an awareness. I know there are people that can help with that. I recently read something and it said blah, 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 blah. Really? Yeah, no, you must check out this person's profile. So that referral person in your network can awaken your prospect to the fact that a solution exists, that the
Mhm.
symptoms they're living with are not the status quo, that something else could be different. So all of those words and things are all trigger words to get someone to sit up and go, I should be living with this. I should get a solution. Oh, and the solution exists. And even if that person in your network can't remember your name, oh, who was it that did that now? I saw it, but I can't remember who did it. It doesn't matter if they don't remember, because if they're your first degree connection and they've just met this other person and that's their first degree connection and you've just brought it to their awareness, what does awareness do? If you see a car on the street you've never seen before, you go, oh, I've never seen a car like this. You suddenly start seeing them everywhere because it's in your awareness,
Yeah.
which means you're going to see, that person's going to see you on that you also might like to know, or a piece of your content will come up. And those first 49 characters of your headline, if the keyword's in there, they'll go, oh, that's what so-and-so was talking to me about. And boom, they've arrived. So it works on quite a number of levels.
Okay. So this is making so much sense, which I love. And I've never thought about using LinkedIn in this way. Like, I think that's like kind of the power of LinkedIn is it's just, it can be used in so many different ways. That's a lot different. It's like a social media platform, but like a business connection platform, and with its different levels of connections and the intricacies of how the platform works, it sets itself apart 100% from, like,
Mm.
say, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or whatever, even Twitter.
Yeah.
Um, and for the purposes of doing business and finding business, having, I can see how having that right profile can make the difference.
Mm.
Do you have any any specific industries that you typically work with or work best with, or have you been like, man, I run the gamut, I've worked with people in this industry and this industry, it doesn't really matter?
It really doesn't matter because it comes down to the problem that you solve and pitching it in a way that will resonate with the audience.
Yeah.
My absolute favorite people to work with are those that are consultant level type people who have very complex problems that they solve that aren't easy to articulate. And if you said, "Oh, this is what I do," most people go, "What?" Rather than the bog standard. But even when you have somebody who does a career where there's like maybe 50,000 people do exactly the same, and it is that kind of industry that says, "Oh, you have that problem, this is the solution." Even those are really interesting because everybody has their own angle. For example, I worked with an international company that does leasing, and I've spoken to 40 different people in their company from around the world to write their LinkedIn profiles. And every single person I've interviewed has a different perspective on it. So you can have, your financial people who are all regulated and have to keep to a very, very steady, everything's got to be signed off and regulated.
Mhm.
There's actually nothing that I would write on a profile that would not come up through a regulator, because every one of us has a life story. Every one of us has a speciality. Every one of us has a type of person we absolutely love to work with. And that type of person that we absolutely love to work with has problems, has symptoms of a problem that they haven't awoken to or are waking up to, that will really resonate. So whether you're going after like 25-year-olds who have hit big early in their career and earning and have got a lot of disposable income, or if you're going for people who haven't put enough in for retirement and they're 55, there's a really good way of pitching that resonates, that will draw more people to them of that type. And then it comes down to thought leadership, the thought leadership of, okay, you're 55 and you haven't got a single penny in pension. Hey, I can help you. Let's talk about it. That's an opportunity for real thought leadership. And that's an opportunity, once your LinkedIn profile's in place and you're saying, this is who I am, this is why I do it, this is why my credentials on it, and there's that warmth of conversation through the profile that someone will go, I really thought I could be your friend. Thank you. Can I reach out to you? That from there, you start sharing content on that topic. And you really want to be sharing content 80% on your topic. Because if you're not sharing on that topic, not enough people see all of your content all of the time. And the human brain is programmed to pigeonhole people. And they will pigeonhole you and think, oh, that's what you're about. I'm about training dogs today. I'm about cleaning the beach today. I'm about whatever different jobs and hobbies you have. If it's too wide what you're talking about, no one will be able to work out what the problem is you stand for. And so therefore we want to have a very high percentage of content that's talking about solving the problem that we solve, so that people come to know we are the expert in that and see our thought leadership. And I have a scorecard I take people through that rates how well you've got the foundations in your business in different parts. And one of those questions is do people reach out and ask you to speak on podcasts or speak at events? And the reason is because if the answer is yes, they do, that means they're seeing you as somebody who has a very clear message, very clear on thought leadership, and solves a very vital problem, and they've matched it to their audience and thought this is really useful. That's when you know that your LinkedIn profile is working.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's actually a really good point, is having those people as individuals reach out and wanting to see them on stages or have it on podcast or something like that. So for the clients that you typically work with, what are you seeing? What are they seeing in terms of performance metrics and changes in terms of getting business on LinkedIn? I'm going to be honest. I've had a big LinkedIn profile for a long time. I've never gotten business off of LinkedIn.
Well, I could probably look at your profile and immediately tell you why.
It's never happened,
Okay. Yeah.
So
So when it comes to matrix, it is metrics rather than the matrix. It is up to the individual how much, obviously, they're networking, how much they're being active. It's and just to caveat on that, it's not the number of followers that somebody has. It's about how much you're putting into the network, because LinkedIn rewards the activity that you do. So you could do a lot of activity, get 11,000 followers, not do anything for 6 months. You could post a piece of content and you'd end up with like 100 people seeing it, not commenting, not liking it, seeing it, which can feel really disappointing. And you've got 11,000 followers and you did all that work for it. So why is that the case? You actually, when you have that many, you've actually diluted your pool of how much networking and value you can get out of it. I need to qualify that actually. But so the metrics on whether you've got lots of followers and engagement on your posts are actually not the metrics you want to look at. You want to be looking at, am I closing business? And for some people, that might be 1 contract a month, 1 contract every 6 months, or it might be 5 contracts a week. And so there are those, how much you need depends on how much you're going to go in there and get it. But it's also really about how easy is it for that to happen. Did the person come to me pre-sold and ready to buy? Did they come eager to work with me? Did they come knowing what my packages were? Because here's the thing, you see, if you've written on your LinkedIn profile, this is how I work with somebody, they see it on a Monday, they book an appointment with you to speak to you on a Thursday, they're literally in a conversation with you between Monday and Thursday thinking, I like their packages, I can see how that works, I've got a question about that actually, and my objection to that would be this. They're having a conversation with themselves, and they actually talk themselves out of a lot of objections before the appointment and go, no, I could find the budget for that. That would really work if it was like that actually. They come and talk to you, they're already massively way down the sales process, and there's that chemistry and that fit, and they say yes. And it's working on such a level on the psychology of, did somebody read the whole profile? Did they feel like they know, like, and trust you? Did they see you as somebody they could recommend? All of those things are playing a part, and some of those things are actually not measurable. So when it comes to like how many views on the profile, did you get, how many followers have you got? It's not something I pay a huge amount of attention to. What I'm interested in is, are you booking sales appointments? And are they, and how warmed up are they? Because if they're not warmed up, they'll be very difficult appointments, very hard to sell. And if you do sell, they probably become very difficult clients, not because they're difficult people, but because they just don't trust you. They don't have that depth of relationship with you.
So I do a post a day minimum, sometimes 2 posts, mostly 2 posts a day on LinkedIn. Usually like a reel, like a video, and then a post.
Yeah.
And so, and really just for like, to help to provide value. I'm just trying to provide value like on coaching, stuff like that. And so, do you find that is there a good space for people like a consultant / coach, like life coach, sales coach, physical fitness coach, anything like that, that they could legitimately be able to get some good traction on LinkedIn?
Absolutely. I mean, when you're posting that much, your TikTok and Instagram kind of require that much posting. LinkedIn is more of like a 3 times a week kind of platform.
Okay.
And again, it's if you're posting, what is somebody learning about you and what is the next step they want to take? So it's not very easy to get external links on LinkedIn because they don't like them, so they won't prioritize your post. There is one way of doing it via on the phone app. You can put external links on with that, which is quite handy. I tried to do it today overwriting a PDF and it doesn't work. So that's a little bit frustrating, but there are ways to do it. So you're not going to be drawing people off of the platform with any great success. So you're not going to be able to draw people to your website. What you are going to do with great success is draw them to your profile. And so when somebody sees that you've said something really interesting, they're going to get curious and go, who is this guy? What does he do? They're going to come through to your profile. When you comment on somebody else's post and you say something coherent and useful, they go, this is interesting. Then they're going to ask themselves, is this person just randomly spitting out knowledge, or are they an expert in this field? And their eye, whilst they're asking that question, will immediately go to the headline that's shown underneath your name, which is 49 characters. And if what you've said that was really sensible doesn't match what you've written in the 49 characters, that person's not going to open your LinkedIn profile because you're not a subject matter expert. You're just someone saying something useful. Great, thanks for that. But if it's really useful and helpful to them, and then they see the right keywords showing up, i.e. the problem that you solve, the expertise, showing up in that 49 characters, they'll go, this person didn't just say something sensible. I think they might have more helpful, useful information for me. I'm going to click on this person and I'm going to go through to their profile. And then on the profile, you've got seconds to get their attention. And it's all about getting the person to the LinkedIn profile so that you can start really positioning your expertise. Now, if you said something sensible in either of those two places, the relationship has begun, and they are asking, is this useful to me? Is this relevant to my day? They've already decided that your topic is useful because they wouldn't have clicked on it otherwise. And now they're on the profile. What are they going to do? They're going to scan through the whole thing from top to bottom and go, is this useful? Is it not? And their eye is going to make decisions. Is it well dressed? Is it well formatted? Does this look like this person has taken care over it? Are they actually standing for a problem in the world that needs solving? And that bit is going to be that background image, featured comments, anything with color is going to make the person go, oh yeah, they're standing for something here. Mm-hmm. And format and alignment is really important as well. And then it's like, does this resonate with me? So when people write stuff like podcast host, let me think of some stuff, facilitator, 10 times Amazon author, best-selling author, those kind of things. None of those things resonate. I really don't care that you're about 10 times best-selling author. To me, you probably just used a strategy, chose a tiny little category, and were there for 5 minutes, and that's why you got the status. I'm interested in the problem that you solve. I'm interested in whether you can solve my problem and how you're relevant to me, or relevant to somebody in my network that I might want to recommend you on to. So all of the different things in the profile are all playing a part in getting me to then go deep and read the about section. And so your photo is like me looking across the room and going, there's a nice looking friendly person. I'll go over there and I'll say hello. I say, hi, I'm Naomi. You say, hi, I'm Greg. That's the name on the LinkedIn profile. What do you do, Greg? You tell me. That's the headline. Oh, I do this. Oh, great. Okay. And then it's about having a conversation with me where you tell me more about what you do and try not to get me to interrupt. Okay? Because an interruption means we're having a conversation. A 2-minute monologue from you where you're just telling me everything means I'm hooked and I'm interested and I feel engaged and I don't need to say anything. And that's what your about section is supposed to do. So we want to open up with like the problem we solve in the world and why it's important. Oh my goodness, I lean in. Now you tell me. This is actually how I help people. I've been doing this for 20 years and I do such and such and such and such. And I've seen this happen. And I've seen that happen. And that's why I do it this way. And I really care about this and I care about that. Ooh. And all the time I'm coming closer to you. And if we do that right, it resonates. And I'm like, I like this person. I like what they've got to say. I can see myself working with them. What do I do now? If there's a call to action, that might be what I want to do next is go, it resonates with me. I'll book an appointment. But I'm still not going to book an appointment because I don't know what actually is going to happen. Like, what am I talking to you about? Why am I talking to you? Like, what can I expect from you? This is actually quite scary. In the experience entry for the company that you are promoting, we want to put in there. So we said all these other things. We want to put in there, this is what the company does. Bam, 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 bam. So no questions about it. That's the company and that's who they serve. Okay, great. That's me. I've assumed correctly. I feel safe. Or I go, oh gosh, no, I'm not a 7-figure business. Oh no, I won't. Oh wait, that's fine. Thank you. I'll just follow you because that's interesting, but I won't bother you because I'm not your ideal client. So now we've got, okay, I'm your ideal client. This could be good. And now tell me how you help people. Tell me I won't go into this now, but there's a thing called a product ecosystem. Big package, medium package, and the call to action. It's like, oh my gosh, that sounds so brilliant. That sounds like just the solution I'm after. Gosh, working with you would be absolutely amazing. I've just got to talk to you. So now I book the call with you. And that's when we go from, I booked the call with you, I've got to wait 4 days for it, and I'm talking to you. about how I see myself working with those packages and if they'd work for me, and maybe you'd make an adaptation for me because it wouldn't quite work with my life this way. And you see how we're in this conversation this whole way. And on the other side of it, you've got this solo entrepreneur or very small business that needs to be extremely lean and very, very careful with their time, who's, I don't know, you just got up in the morning, or you just come in from kite surfing or taking the kids to school, whatever your priorities are, and you look in the diary and there's 4 appointments booked in there, people you've never heard of, you don't know where they came from, but they've booked themselves in. And then you get on the phone with them and you know you've done well because A, they showed up, which is a metric to measure. Do people actually show up? And then they're happy to share with you their confidential information, their vulnerability, and they're telling you everything that's going on, eager for you to solve the problem. And they're not just telling an advisor or somebody, oh, I just want to get it off my chest, and now I feel better. I'm telling you for a purpose. I'm opening up myself with all my confidential information, all of my vulnerability, because I'm eager for you to signpost me in a direction. And I've given you my time because I'm confident that you have a direction I want to go in and you're going to point me in it.
Mm.
And that is the power of the LinkedIn profile. It's having people out there who are having in a conversation with you, thinking about you, and you don't even know it. You have your ideal clients qualifying themselves to speak to you, and your non-ideal clients disqualifying themselves, but still wanting to follow you and hang around to glean information for them to help themselves with your information, or to recommend you and get your work name out there, because one person they come across, they'll say, oh yeah, I dealt with this problem, or I'm struggling with the same thing, and Greg actually really helps me with that. You should go and check out his podcast. Okay, I will. And that person is your ideal client. And then they come through to work with you. So all of these things are working on your behalf on a really clear level. Like it's hard to see exactly how, but it's all part of the mix. And it's definitely not something you want to mess with or miss out on. Because when somebody Googles your name, your LinkedIn profile will be part of the answer that comes up. People will expect to see you on LinkedIn. If you've done great things everywhere else, like maybe you spent like £5 a lead on Google Ads and had all these people attend your webinar, and people loved your webinar and they bought from it, and then somebody wants to recommend your webinar to somebody else, and that person hasn't spent the time with you, and like, who's this person? And they Google their name and they end up on the LinkedIn page, and your profile doesn't match, doesn't say anything, doesn't lead you down the funnel, it just leaves you confused. Be like, oh, right, I don't know why I'm looking at this. I don't get it. And you've lost that referral.
Yeah. I feel like just talking to you that I'm like, man, I'm massively overlooking LinkedIn right now. So
well, we should definitely set up a LinkedIn profile and strategy session for you.
I would love that. I would love that. And speaking of which, if anyone's listening to this and they're like, man, they feel the same way that I feel, which you should, and they want to set up a time to talk with you or learn more from you, what's the best way to connect with you?
Yeah, so the best thing to do is to come to the profile.company.
Uh-huh.
So it's a full word on the end, company, the profile.company. And on there, you can book an appointment with me. You can also do a diagnostic and see how well your business is structured and set up to make LinkedIn work for you. And you can also download a template as well. And for your listeners, Greg, what they can do is they can come to the profile.company/be-the-difference. So be the difference. They can come on there, they can take the scorecard, the 18 questions, and diagnose why their activities on LinkedIn are falling flat, and if what's missing in their business. And then after they've taken the scorecard, they can get a free copy of my book, The Expert Economy, as a gift as well, and book an appointment in from there.
That's very thoughtful and kind of you to share that with the audience. Make sure you go follow Naomi. All of these are going to be in the show notes also. But make sure you go click that link. You can go check out her book and schedule time just to see how she can help you with your LinkedIn profile. Naomi, the last thing that I ask all my guests when they're on the podcast is, you have the opportunity to sit with, learn from 3 individuals, break bread with, have a good time. 3 individuals, anyone in history, alive or
Oh my
deceased,
goodness.
who would those 3 be and why?
Oh, I wish I'd prepared for this one.
That's the point. I don't want you to I want it to be off the cuff. I want it to be
Oh my gosh. um, well, I think Dale Carnegie did some pretty awesome stuff in his life, didn't
that's a
he?
good one. I like that one.
Yeah, and he really knew how to like talk to people, and I think he'd make me feel really special. And then I'd need to deconstruct how he did it, and then make other people feel special. So, yeah, I'd go with him. I'd probably want to pick a woman. I'd, I'd probably go with maybe someone like Oprah Winfrey because of how she's raised up and how she's so positive and she's a female, um, doing great things and coming across adversity and prejudice and stuff like that. So she'd be pretty cool, I
Yeah.
think. And then, of course, I'm going to have to say Jesus because he was pretty awesome, wasn't he? So
Yeah.
can't miss
He's
out on
he
that
he is a
opportunity.
favorite. He is a favorite for a lot of people.
Is he?
Yeah,
Well,
he's got a lot of people.
I've been watching the program The Chosen on Angel Studios, the app, and I'm like, I want him to be my friend. He's such a nice guy.
Yeah. And this is a point I'm gonna bring up.
Mm,
Um, and for the time and place that we are at right now in society,
mm,
okay? And this is more of just like a theoretical kind of philosophical thought
yeah.
process based on Jesus. I think today people are so afraid of being criticized for standing firm in their beliefs that a lot of times people will
Mm,
just go with the flow, or they'll do what everyone else is doing or say what everyone else is saying, and in order to avoid standing out from the crowd, right? And if you
yeah.
really think, I think one of the most important things that Jesus showed us was that he did it in a very tactful way, but he spit in the face of a lot of people because of the things that they were doing. He pointed them out and said, "Hey, this is not a righteous way to live. This is not the
Mm,
way that you're supposed to do things." They persecuted him. They called him a fake, a liar. They made fun of him, and
mm,
and it even built to the points where they finally crucified him, right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
so think about, like, the next time you're like, man, you're like, I don't want to say this on social media, even though I feel it in my heart, right? And I know it to be true in my
Hmm.
world. I don't want to say it because somebody might, people are gonna trolls on the internet are gonna come say something, or they're not gonna like my post. Hey, get that out of your head and start following the example that was set thousands of years ago.
Yeah. And it's crazy actually when you think about it because the people back then were living under the Ten Commandments, which are extremely strict,
Mhm.
and they had to sacrifice every single year to atone for their sins and be right with God. And it was so hard to live up to all of that. And then Jesus came along and said, "Hey, I'm just going to make it really easy for you. And
Yeah.
not only am I going to make it easy for you, but let's just love one another and let's just be kind."
Yeah.
And then we crucify him for it. And I think, yeah, you're totally right in what you say. And it's with if we know what we say is kindness, and we saying it's on the love and it's lifting society, we shouldn't be afraid to say it.
Exactly.
Um, and I'll say it. I really like Prince Harry. I think that he has got it. And that's why he's under criticism because he's a kind, generous, serving individual. And that's why they have to attack him because we can't be nice to each other. Apparently, it doesn't make money.
Yeah, so it doesn't get likes and clicks and views.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
speaking of likes and clicks and views, if you watched till now, then I know you got some value. Do me a favor, do Naomi a favor, share this content with other people, especially people that are in an entrepreneur space that are doing business via social media, via LinkedIn. This might be something that can help them. This can also help Naomi, obviously, because she can do what she loves to do, which is help people improve and set up their LinkedIn profiles for success. So it takes you 60 seconds to like, rate, review, subscribe, share,
Follow, yeah.
follow. But
Book an
man,
appointment.
Book an
Welcome to
appointment.
book a profile review with me.
It means the world to us, though. So this has been the Be the Difference podcast. I'm your host, Greg Birch. Until next time.